Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl A.Simone back at it again with another video. So as you guys saw by the title of this video, this is P-Valley Season 2 Episode 4 recap. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay guys, so this episode starts off with a dance scene. So from last season to this season, I feel like they're really shooting these on the stage dance scenes really well. And not saying that last season wasn't shot well, but last season it was like a slap in the face to us because the show was brand new, so everybody was excited, everybody loved it. But to see it carrying on with season 2, where it's just kind of like we have, the anticipation of what's happening, what's going down. We kind of have a feel for the show after, the official first season. So I feel like they are really shooting these dance sequences really well. The way they're doing the lighting, and I feel like that has something to do with the show. Like I said, when it comes to actual strip clubs, obviously the setup and the lighting is not giving production. So yeah, like I said, the episode opens up with a dance sequence. I love it. Girls doing their thing, making their money, and we see a familiar face in the crowd. So we see a woman throwing money. If you guys do not remember, this is the woman from last season who ended up getting arrested. She was at the strip club celebrating her divorce party, and she ended up crying to Mississippi, letting Mississippi know. And she was just like, "Oh, you're so beautiful. I love you." Just in the whole zone. And she gets emotional. She starts crying. We come to find out she's going through a divorce. So she ends up getting locked up, I think, for a DUI, if I'm not mistaken. I think for driving under the influence after she was leaving the club. And this is the night of when everything went down. So Mercedes and her mama got to fighting. All of them are all in the holding cell, and that's when Mercedes finds out that Mississippi danced in her place, because it was supposed to be Mercedes' last dance, but all this situation happened. So this is the same woman from last season that was in there throwing money, having a good time, crying about her divorce party, and then ended up being in the holding cell. And that's when Mercedes found out that Mississippi danced in her place. So this woman's back again, throwing the racks, throwing that money. And so she goes into a private room and gets a one-on-one dance with one of the dancers. So the girl ends up, I cannot think of this girl's name, but she's like a main side character. We know her face, we know her name from season 1 to now. I can't remember her name, but she was the one who said she had allergies in the last episode. So they're in the private room. She ends up sneezing in this woman's face, y'all. Square in her face, and the woman runs out screaming, because when they were in the private room, she didn't have on a mask, and she ends up taking the woman's mask off, just being in the moment of, we doing this one-on-one dance. Sneezes in the woman's face. And yeah, we come to find out this woman is like a health code worker. So she gets on the mic, snatches the DJ's mic, and she's like, "Oh no, y'all shut down. Y'all violating, the health codes." Like I said, we remember this woman from last season, but we really didn't know too much about her. We just thought she was in the club celebrating her divorce party, and come to find out she's a health code worker. So they're in the back or whatever, and she was like, "Y'all gotta have all this stuff ready within 24 hours, or it's gonna be a $25,000 fine." I think she said it has to be. I think she said all these things have to be ready, or if you violate again, I think it's a $25,000 fine. So one of the girls in the back, she was like, "Oh, I remember you. You the one that got arrested, and they said you was sleeping with your husband's mama." And the girls were like, "What?" They were like, "Yeah, remember her who came up in here?" They were like, "Yeah, I do remember her." So, like I said, this woman, she was going through the divorce, but she was messing around with the husband's mama. So clearly, she has her attraction to women. She loves coming, seeing beautiful women, which there's nothing wrong with that. But the way she got called out, it was like she was actually messing behind the husband's back with the woman. So she ends up reducing the $25,000 fine to $11,000. She was like, "That's the best I can do," because she got called out. All the ladies realized who she was, and it was like, "Yo, like this chick, she violating. What the heck?" So her business got put out there, so she ended up lowering the fine. So they had to get all this stuff done within 24 hours. Okay, so while the ladies are in the room, one of the girls, she calls out Roulette, who is one of the new girls, and she was like, "Yeah, some, But they're going back and forth because Roulette said something out loud and she responded. And she was like, I can say what I want to say. You talking out loud so I can respond. And Roulette ended up like body shaming the girl, talking about her body. And the girl was like, word on the street is you out here doing extracurricular activities for money. And she was like, what you talking about? She was like, it ain't no lie. They said you had DSLs, which is sucking lips. So they get to fighting. Roulette beat the girl's tail. Now, this scene was really interesting because she was like, well, we knew it had to be one of the new girls. And that really just let you know how all the girls that have been in the club for years follow the rules. So when this situation happened where this guy is coming around asking about a girl who, you know, was doing some things, they automatically were able to pinpoint it to the new girls because they know that they've never done it. They've never violated like that in Uncle Clifford's club. So that was a very telling scene too, to show how the girls really follow the rules. They don't get down and dirty like that doing any of those things inside Clifford's club. So like I said, that was a real interesting scene to me, that they were automatically able to point out the new girls when some men were asking about extracurricular activities. So yeah, so the girls get to fighting. Big L comes and breaks it up. And Big L and her ended up having a conversation in the side room after he pulls her off the girl. And he's like, where'd you learn that wrestling move? She ends up putting a wrestling move on the girl. And she was like, my brother. So she says, so Big L, what does Big L say? He said something like, you feisty or something. You feisty or something, just like my daughter. And then that's when she was like, I learned the wrestling move from my brother. And then Big L says something about like what happened to him. So I don't know if this was like a moment between not this girl, Roulette and Big L. Like, it was given like, you may be my long lost daughter. Did you guys pick up on that? And because when he asked about the brother, he said what happened to the brother. We never got revealed that information. So it's just like, how do you know that something happened to her brother? All she said was that she learned the wrestling move from her brother. So that little situation was a little iffy to me. That little situation was a little iffy. It was given like, is this his long lost daughter? Like what's going on? Like, y'all having this heart, you know, this one-on-one heart-to-heart. Okay, so next, Andre travels back to Atlanta because, like I said, he's been in Chucalissa, you know, trying to get the situation what happened with the old mayor that passed away. He's the godson of the mayor that passed away. So he's just been trying to get, you know, all this stuff settled. Actually, he's waiting on them to read the will. That's what he came back for, because Andre is in the will. So he travels back to Atlanta and finds his wife in the bed giving that sloppy toppy to her coworker. So the wife is actually a doctor. The wife is a doctor, and she was in there with another doctor, I believe. That's what she said. It isn't me, guys, but the wife's character, this was unnecessary. Now, obviously, he is married, so I guess they felt like they had to incorporate that some kind of way. But her character is just annoying to me. Like I said, the acting is not, I mean, the acting across the board is given late, like for real. And that's no shade. But yeah, her acting, her whole character, she's just annoying to me. Like everything about her presence. And I guess, like I said, they felt like they had to incorporate it because he is a married man. And we found that out last season when he was messing around with Autumn or infatuated by Autumn. But yeah, the wife's character is just annoying. I really don't want to see too much of her. It's just not necessary. She's annoying. Her whole presence is annoying to me. So yeah, so she was in there cheating with another doctor. I think they both work in like the emergency room, whatever, from what it seems. And yeah, which makes sense because Andre, he's so infatuated with Autumn. So her doing something on the side, that made sense, you know. So yeah, okay, so Mercedes gets a text saying to come meet up with the coach again. So then we find out that the coach is actually still, you know, out doing his thing, you know, whatever. And the wife actually sent the text. So the wife pretty much let Mercedes know that, you know, I'm so intrigued by you being this dancer and being such a hustler. I've never seen someone go out here and get it like you. And then we find out that the wife is a photographer, and Mercedes is up on a pole. She's taking pictures, and she's so infatuated by her. So the dynamic with the wife is really interesting to me too, because we find out this woman has a passion, she has a career, she has a talent, she's a smart woman, well put together woman, and we kind of see how, being married to a rich, powerful man, how, a woman can fall victim to that, to where she's being put on the back burner. Now, obviously, she's still doing her career and having a career, but you can see that, her energy is like, she just looks sucked dry, drained dry, being married to this rich man and coming, the lifestyle that comes with that. So that dynamic, I'm loving that dynamic that they're playing with the wife, that we're seeing that she does have a passion, but, that fire and that flame is definitely gone to her, playing the role of a wife to this rich, powerful man. So yes, like I said, we find out that the wife really sent the text and the husband knows nothing about it. And she ends up, doing some things, some one-on-one things to Mercedes. And it seems like I said, this is like a spark being put back into the marriage, of her getting like this high moment of, having a beautiful woman around, like, Mercedes. And during this scene, she calls Mercedes a stripper. And she was like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. She was like, yeah, you did. She was like, I can't believe I'm crying in front of a stripper. Which in that moment, the dynamic I think they were trying to play is that, she looks at this role as something that's beneath her. Like I said, she's a professional black woman, and then you have this black woman over here who's a dancer. So that was kind of the dynamic I got of her using the word stripper, and Mercedes being offended by that. But yeah, she ends up doing a little something, with Mercedes, and yeah, we get this, we find this out that she's trying to hook up and have her own fun with Mercedes one-on-one. So yeah. Okay, so next we have lilmurda and the whole crew. They're backed up in traffic. So guys, we get introduced back to Gidget this episode. As you guys know, Gidget, she's been out of the city because her mom passed away, I think due to corona complications. But this episode, we get introduced back to Gidget officially in season 2. So they're in the city where Gidget is, or they're in a nearby city, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And like I said, they link up with Gidget, Mississippi, and they're backed up in traffic. So we find out that a man has been killed. So they're really kind of playing into the whole Black Lives Matter, pandemic, all these riots. They're really playing into that whole activist role this season, which is reflecting what really has happened in America within the last, however many years. So that's interesting that they're really playing into, updated current events. Sorry y'all, I was looking for the remote control. But yeah. So they're really playing into what's going on in America now. They're incorporating that into the script, which I'm not mad at it. It's cool. So like I said, we're in the car, and they're listening to this on the radio. And yeah, so the guy, the security dude that came from prison, and then we have the manager dude, they kind of go at it a little bit, because the manager dude is like, oh, well, what did this black man do to get shot? And then Big Teak, he's like, what are you talking about? Like, a black man got gunned down. So you see a little bit of tension between them. Like, he's like, what did he do? And we're like, yo, this black man got gunned down in the street. Like, what are you talking about? Okay, so then we go back to the club. Like I said, they're trying to get ready in 24 hours to get all this stuff ready because of the violation. So Big L gets Duffy, the white boy, and they come through with some African man, and they get all the stuff, all the material, and everybody's helping putting the stuff up in the club. Because like I said, they only gave them a 24-hour notice before she was coming back to check the club again. So all the girls, everybody pulled up to help Uncle Clifford get the club together. And so we see that Mercedes' mom is officially running for mayor. So we got Andre, he wants to run for mayor. And then we got Mercedes' mom, who wants to run for mayor. So in this situation, this is interesting because it's just like, does she have a fighting chance to win? Now, mind you, Mercedes' mom, she fully has the church, and she's been handing out boxes and hand sanitizer. She's been giving back to the community, you know, during the whole pandemic. People are pulling up in their cars and they're getting these boxes that's being given from the church. So it's kind of like, does Mercedes' mom have a chance winning being on the mayor ballot? Because everyone closest to Mercedes, they all hate her mama because they know she's two faces. She's really evil. Even though she says she's for the Lord, even though she may have this gift of discernment, it's just like, you really aren't a good person deep down inside. So everybody closest that really knows Mercedes moms, they know she on some BS. But it's like, as far as the general public, especially the people who've been getting these boxes during the pandemic, it's just like, would Mercedes mom have a fighting chance to win this mayor election? Because that's crazy. Okay, so like I said, they're in there getting stuff together. Well, really, the men are kind of getting the stuff together, and Roulette is looking at the news, and Roulette, she walks off and she starts crying. So she goes to one of the side rooms, and then Duffy hears her crying, and he's like, "What's up with you?" And she was like, "This reminds me of my brother." So we find out Roulette's brother was gunned down because the police said he had a gun. I think it was like during like a traffic stop, or they pulled him over. So we found out that Roulette's brother has been killed due to police violence. And in that moment, Roulette looks at Duffy and she was like, "Y'all always get away with stuff," referring to white people, you know, the police and stuff. And in that moment, she wasn't trying to make Duffy feel bad, but, you know, that's just how she felt. She felt like, you know, y'all white skin, y'all have the, you know, the protection. Y'all get away with stuff, and it's just way different from us. So that was a real, like, raw moment that we got from Roulette. Okay, so then we also have a scene with Tyler Leppy's character, Diamond, and Miracle Watts' character, Big Bone. So it actually said that he actually got her an audition on the show. It seems like they started dating and doing their thing. He ended up getting her an audition on the show. So the fact that the way they wrote this script, they have them like kind of like hooking up on the show, that was really cute to me, guys. I'm not gonna hold you, because I know, like I said, when they started dating, this was before the premiere. So, you know, people were saying that, you know, he got her an audition on the show, and it's like, okay, that's dope. They're dating, and he out here, you know, making moves for his babe. But I didn't know that they were gonna like write them as like hooking up or like being into each other on the show. So that was really cute, guys. I'm not gonna hold you. Okay, so then we go back to the hotel room. All the guys, everybody who's on tours in the hotel room, they're chilling, and they're ready to take a toast for Mississippi. So Mississippi, she has her lash line, and her lashes are officially in stores. So I don't know if they're in all the stores, but they showed her and Gidget like standing in front of a specific store. So I don't know if it's just in this one city, and they're you know, just getting the distribution together. But you know, Mississippi is out here making moves. You know, she's been doing her thing and really building up her following and her influence during the pandemic. So like I said, she officially has her lash line in the store. And so the manager dude, he was toasting to Mississippi, and he turns off the TV. So Big Teak was watching the TV, seeing about the protests. And the manager dude was like, "You don't tell me what to do in my hotel room. I'm paying for all of this." So they get into it, y'all. So the manager is really on some all lives matters type stuff, which is really left field, because obviously everybody's black, you know, in the South. So the fact that they made his character on some all lives matter type stuff, that I'm not really feeling that. I'm not really vibing with it. And then you have Big Teak, who's been in jail for years, and you kind of see him, his whole setup and his energy is given very institutionalized. Like people who go to the military and go to jail, they just get, you know, that's what people say is institutionalized, meaning they're just used to the schedule. They're used to the setup of being in jail and being, you know, tick, tick, tick on this time block and just doing stuff in this, you know, scheduled, limited way, meaning you don't have your freedom. Big T definitely being institutionalized. So he's trying to watch the news about the protests, and he ends up turning the TV off, and they end up going back and forth. And he was like, "Yo, like, so you taking up for the blue meaning the police, and they going back and forth, and then Gidget jumps in it, and she was like, "You need to calm the heck down." Yo, why did Big Teak go off on Gidget, y'all? Now, I'm gonna keep it real. So they introduced Gidget earlier in the episode. We see Gidget back on the show on this season. I'm gonna keep it real, guys. Gidget's energy is annoying. Like, even in the scene where they were in the car stuck in traffic, they actually end up hearing little, what's his name? DJ Never Scared. So the little young teenage boy who's the DJ, he's in Atlanta making moves, and they hear his song on the radio. So during that, they end up hearing about the protests, and Gidget, she's like, "Yeah, girl, ha ha ha, let's turn up." So Gidget's energy is like, you're not reading the room. They just brought up protests, and you're, trying to twerk with your tongue out. So Gidget's character is really irritating me. She really irritated me this episode for her to be introduced, because it's just like, you're not reading the room. And mind you, the reason why we haven't been seeing her, because her mom passed away. So her having this super giddy, yeah, let's turn up, let's twerk energy, that's kind of off anyway. But then I feel like she's not reading the room with everything that's going on, and she's just all about turning up. And it's a little annoying, I'm not gonna hold you. Her energy is just turn up, turn up. And they're incorporating this situation where they're showing a young black man getting killed, and all these protests and riots are happening, and her energy is just off to me. It's just annoying. So Big Teak ends up going at Gidget, telling her to shut her white behind up, and Gidget's like, "Yeah, I wish you would do something." Like, she just in there turning up. Now mind you, she just met this dude. Gidget knows Mississippi. Well, she knows all of them except him, pretty much, because all of them are from Chuckalisa, and they've been trying to get lilmurda, to get this record deal or whatever. So she pretty much does know everybody except Big Teak. So she in there turning up. They have to pull Big Teak away. Yeah. They have to pull Big Teak away, and he goes to use the bathroom, and lilmurda is in the bathtub trying to, like, rhyme on one of his songs. So he's like, "Yo, like, how you come to use the bathroom and I'm in here, trying to, rhyme?" So they end up going out the bathroom into the bedroom, and Big Teak, he's kind of having a moment. He's like, "Yo," he's pretty much saying, "You could be a black president, it doesn't matter. Your black skin is not worthy when it comes to the world, or especially in this country." So he's pretty much saying, you could be a good black Negro, a bad black Negro, a president Negro, it doesn't matter. So guys, I want to bring up Big Teak and Big L, because they've been having some good like quotes and moments on this season. For them to be side characters, I feel like we're getting like gems, and we're getting a lot of like education and a lot of like moments from them, as far as the dialogue, from them being side characters. Because remember, on one of the episodes, the Big Teak was like, even the devil started off as an angel. He was referring to Autumn, because Autumn saved the club, but it seems like she has other things under her sleeve. So he was telling Mercedes, even the devil started off as angel. So don't think just because somebody did something so great for you that it can't turn around. And then we have Big Teak character. He's talking about our black skin, how we're not worthy, and it doesn't matter if you're the president or you're standing on the corner, they still see you one way. So we're getting this really deep dialogue from the side characters, specifically Big Teak and Big L, and I'm here for it. I'm here for the gems that are being dropped, as far as the show. So yeah, so Big Teak, he starts to break down. He was like, "Yo, being out here in the real world, I've been in jail, locked up in jail, no freedom, and then I'm out here and seeing people still get gunned down, and this bad cycle." So he starts crying, and lilmurda comes and holds his face like, "Come on, dude, it's gonna be okay." So guys, I'll be watching other reviews on P-Valley, and you have a couple channels where they do this thing where they do a prediction. So they pretty much break down the past episode, and they break down a preview of what they think is going to happen in the next episode. So in two of the videos I came across, they pretty much hit the nail on the head, and they were saying that Big Teak and lilmurda were going to have a moment. Now, when I was watching these reviews, I was just like, oh, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see that happening between Big Teak and Lil Murda. Like, we just got introduced to Big Teak. But lo and behold, guys, they end up getting on. They end up doing the do. When, like I said, when Big Teak breaks down, starts crying, Lil Murda comes and holds his face. And then they kiss and they get into it. He ends up bending Big Teak over. And guys, I'm gonna keep it real. I was not expecting that, and I thought that was a little corny. Because like I said, they homeboys and they were in jail together. But remember, Big Teak ended up doing a longer sentence or whatever. So I feel like it's kind of playing into this whole prison thing of men being on the DL in prison. And I'm gonna keep it real. I was not expecting that. People, like I said, in the videos I saw, they were saying, is Big Teak and Lil Murda gonna have a thing? So they pretty much called it and hit the nail on the head. But I really was not expecting them to write this into the script of Lil Murda hooking up with Big Teak. And like I said, I think it's really just playing into the whole prison thing of men being in prison and, you know, being on the DL. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it real, guys. That was a little corny to me. If anything, if I've ever said there was a corny aspect of this show, that was corny to me. I was not expecting that. I don't feel like I needed that. I don't think we needed that. Now, mind you, we have not seen Lil Murda have any kind of action since his hookup with Uncle Clifford. So it's just like, based on that factor, it's just like, okay, are we gonna see some more action as far as some intimacy from the characters? Because that's the only thing we've seen. And mind you, Lil Murda's on tour. He's not hooking up with any of the groupies who are all over him. So it's just like, okay, when is this gonna happen again? Because like I said, the only time we've seen it is when he hooked up with Clifford, and they haven't hooked up since because he's been out here trying to do this whole music thing. So yeah, so it's just like, it was about time we saw some more relations with Lil Murda, but I was not expecting this, his homeboy from prison, them hooking up in the hotel room with everybody, you know, on the other side of the hotel. I was not expecting that at all. So yeah, that happens. And then, so Andre comes back to Chuckalissa because his wife was cheating on him. And he ends up telling Uncle Clifford and Autumn at the bar or whatever. So then they go outside, Autumn and Andre, and they're talking. And she was like, yeah, I do plan on selling the club. So Uncle Clifford's peeking through the window, not even realizing, you know, they're outside or what they're even talking about. And him and Mercedes, they overhear the conversation, and everybody storms outside and pretty much jumps on Autumn's head. Like, you really trying to sell this club? And Autumn's argument is that it's just a building, which, you know, from a logical standpoint, that is true. It's just a building. You could have a strip club anywhere. But from their standpoint, it's like, this is history, this is culture, this means something to us. It's not just a building to us. So that's how, you know, the dynamic of Autumn, you see little bits and pieces of Autumn being a newcomer and not having the camaraderie that everybody else has. But this season, you're seeing the bits and pieces of that. It's like, yeah, you're a dancer, but it's like, you're not really with us. You don't get it. Because you haven't been here on the grind and, you know, in the bottom, in the dirt like we have. So that's becoming very evident this season, that Autumn, you know, she was just passing through. She was really just on the run from her ex, out here scamming and scheming. And you see the disconnect and you see the divide in her compared to the other girls, and the love and the camaraderie that they have. So yeah, so we find out that Autumn is trying to sell the club, get rid of the club. And she's saying she's going to get some good money because this is on a waterfront property. So she's like, they're going to pay me some good money. And she's pretty much telling them, she was like, it's just a building, y'all. And they're telling her, it's like, nah, it's more than that. You really don't get it. It's more than that. And then we find out Autumn is living in the back of the club, and she told Mercedes that she found a place. And Uncle Clifford was like, you know, this girl ain't doing nothing but lying to all of us, telling everybody lies. And then Mercedes says, you know, your ex was right. It's easy to love you, but it's even more easy to hate you. So yeah, let me see. So then we find out that Andre was left the house in the will. So his the old mayor, his who he's his godson, we find out that Andre was left the house in the will. So like I said, that's the whole reason why Andre was back in Chucalissa, was the reading of the will after he passed away. So yeah, so you see Andre's face kind of light up, and then he calls Corbin on the phone. He was like, "Yeah, meet me at my headquarters, which is the house." So you see his face light up with the idea of, I can really run for mayor and make this thing real. So now we have Mercedes Mama. You know, we got the runner-up mayor, the mayor that was under the real mayor. He became the head mayor because he passed away. So that's like if the president got, murdered, the vice president was taking his place. So that's the only reason why he has a position, is because old dude passed away. So we got the white boy, old dude, he's the mayor now. He has to rerun for mayor. Then we have Mercedes Mama, and then we got Andre. So this is going to be a real interesting situation with these three individuals trying to run for mayor of the city. But yeah, guys, that is it. That is the end of the breakdown of the recap. Tell me what you think. Tell me anything that I may got mixed up or wrong. And yeah, like, subscribe. Let's get those likes and those subscribers up. And I will be back with you guys next week.